Hey everybody, it's Dr. Joe Borio with this week's Thought Flash. Got some great books that I'm reading. This is an oldie. I'm going to actually be speaking at Lyceum here coming up. We've got a great event coming up on May 13th and 14th. That's going to be our next awesome, life-changing event. I hope to see you guys there. Certainly clients, non-clients, CAs. I want you to bring everybody, spread the word, make these things go viral. I want to see every chiropractor that's looking to grow their practice, serve families, and make their practice a principle-based, fun, loving, lifetime family wellness practice. I want to see your faces and bodies at our events. Listen, this is Dr. Joe Strauss's book on chiropractic philosophy. Great book. I was talking about Sinnett's book. But I bought this down in Lyceum many, many years ago. I went a really good friend of mine, Bart Fickus, and Dr. Steve Archileo, and just great stuff. So kind of bringing myself back full circle 20 years ago. I'm reading through this again. Obviously got some pages noted. And then I've got this other book. Maybe you heard about it. Certainly Giant versus Pygmy. This actually wasn't a full green book. Fred Barge put it together. It was actually a brochure. And it's right here, actually. They got a copy of it. Kind of cool. But this is really the metaphysical aspect of chiropractic, you know. And what I love about that is that intelligence, that universal intelligence. And, you know, I've talked about that before, but I was watching the Science Network last night. And, I know, I'm an exciting guy, right, watching the Science Network. And they had these physicists on and mathematicians, and they were trying to explain the universe, and they were trying to explain what matter was. And they were talking about string theory and that how everything is made of little particles, which are really essentially energy, but the particles, rather than staying perfectly in space, actually kind of float around and move like little strings. So just amazing stuff. You know, when I watch these guys, I almost laugh. I mean, I love their why and their wonder, and I love their quest to know the truth. And I think that's great. I don't want to lessen that quality. But there's almost like an arrogance that because they know that they've got it all figured out. And you know, that's amazing to me as well. Listen, no one knows anything. I mean, we certainly can break everything down in a mechanistic viewpoint, but no matter what you get to, no matter what part of energy you get to, you're going to find that it's in little packages. And these packages are so unique to each element, and these packages are so unique to themselves, and they're perfectly packaged in the most infinitesimal measurement possible that we have known to man. And they're all identical, you know, a quark or a electron particle or a proton or a neutron or what have you. Now you got dark matter and so forth, and everything else. And you measure the vibration and the spin echoes of electrons and so forth. I mean, you know, because you know that, all you're doing is you're observing the finger of God. I mean, that's all you're really doing. You're observing something, matter, you know, broken down to these small little bits, right? But you're just observing something that is intangible almost, that you can't even begin to explain. And, you know, I was talking to, you know, kids here not too long ago. They were talking about, oh, yeah, we got it all figured out, the Big Bang. You know, they teach them the Big Bang, which is great. But, you know, that's what I asked them, including myself, where did the Big Bang come from? There had to be something that was eternal that never existed. And when I talk to some physicists that I know and some other guys that I watch on television, ladies I watch on television, I realize that, you know, they're saying that the universe recycles. They're thinking that the Big Bang, what happens, they believe that the universe expands, and then it actually stops and contracts. And then it comes into another unified force of energy, and then it explodes up and expands again. They said that might be the case. You know, what's on the other side of space? I mean, you know, there's so many questions that we don't even know. You're actually this observer, this explorer of intelligence. I mean, that's really what you are. You're this entity that has eyes and ears, and you're limited based upon your own senses. And you, like a dog would, you know, rummage around a yard, look for things, wagging his tail, sniffing and looking and sniffing and looking. In a sense, that's what we are. We're these humans. These beings of intelligence having a human experience, if you will, and we're limited in our understanding based upon our own cognitive ability and also by our senses. And for anyone to go beyond that, I find frustrating, because I think when you do that, you really lose the essence of greatness. You lose the essence of wonder. You lose the essence of why. You lose the experience of the miracle of life. And I don't use miracle even in a religious term. I use miracle as this awe-inspiring event that we all have, and it's just incredible. It's funny I'm talking about this. This had nothing to do with what I wanted to do my Thot Flash on, but I was reading some philosophy, obviously. I found this book actually in a house that I own, and it's called An Uncommon Way to Wealth. And I was reading through it, and it talks about the law of 72s, that money tends to, just by mathematics, money tends to grow under compound interest at a rate that by 7 years, it won't be a steady rate, obviously, it'll go up and down, but every 7 years, whatever you invest on certain investments will double. So if I put $10,000 in there in 7 years, it's going to be 20, 40, 80, 160, and it really starts to go crazy for you. So interesting. But what I thought about while I was reading this, what I was thinking about when I was reading this, was the investment that we all make in ourselves. And that was one of our thought flashes. That the best place to start with your investment, and I truly believe, and I don't have any science to back this up, I believe the law of 72s is a universal law because it always works with mathematics with your investments. And I believe something like that happens with ourselves. If you're willing to put an investment in yourself, that every 7 years, your return of investment will double. And I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about life and the people that you serve and the people that you surround yourself with and the experiences that you have. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the changes that you can make in your life and in those lives that you touch will dramatically change and can double based upon the investment that you put in you. And what I mean by that is, I was working with my kids today, and we were cleaning up a little bit, and I told my one son, Joey, I need you to help your dad and pick up some stuff. He goes, well, I didn't do that. I didn't do that. Vito did that, or Vito's friends did that, or somebody else did that. And Vito sometimes will say that about stuff that I ask him to do. And I turn to him and say, well, who does your wash? Your mom does your wash. And you're cleaning, and who buys the food and so forth. Step out of your box for a minute. But beyond that, and certainly at their ages, I'm trying to teach them some really important parts of life and some good qualities to have and some tools to have a better life. But what I would ask all of you is that investment is laying in bed, and rather than watching TV, or wasting time, make an investment. Make an investment in reading about chiropractic or the metaphysical aspect about it. Or I have guys that say, hey, can you send me these studies? Can you send me these studies? Listen, no offense, but where did I get them from? I got most of the studies from my own research. I go on Google, or I go on a Journal of Vertebral Subluxation Research. I go on Dan Murphy's site. I go on Journal of Manipulative Physical Therapeutics, JMPT. I go on every site that I can, and I study as much as I can, whether it's a Holder study, Jay Holder study, or the Journal of Orthopedic Surgery. A friend of mine sent me that study. But you constantly do the research, and you Google it, and you can find it. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful or insensitive to somebody, but it just amazes me the laziness sometimes that is in this profession. I'm sure I'm not the busiest chiropractor in the world, but I run one of the busiest offices on the planet, and I also work as a coach, and I also travel around the country to speak, and my clients call me. It's Sunday, and clients are calling me and texting me today, and I have 2 kids to take care of and spend time with my family, and I worked on a house today and did yard work. I mean, the point is that where's your investment? I got up early this morning. I did some video work. I read a little bit of Giant versus Pygmy. Tonight I plan on finishing and editing my thought flashes. And I'm going to do some more work on Joe Strauss's book to prepare for a couple lectures I got coming up. So, greatness lies within you. You need to shed it. And you need to work on some inspiration. And you got to remember, which is what I wanted to talk about today, is the uncommon way to wealth. It's an uncommon way, but it's a simple way, and that is invest in you. Benjamin Franklin said that the best investment that you can ever make in this world, in your lifetime, is in you. And I believe that every 7 years, what you put in will double. So if you've gone 7 years out and 7 years out and 7 years out and not a lot has happened, chances are you haven't put a lot in your tank. But if you find that, hey, look, I'm going to really put some investment. I'm going to work on how I adjust people. I'm going to work on my practice and how I communicate to people and educate people on chiropractic. And I'm going to work on the books that I read. And I'm going to read a little bit every day about the physical aspect of chiropractic and the philosophy of chiropractic, which is so beautiful. And I'm going to study the lives of great leaders. And I'm going to study the lives of Dee Dee and BJ Palmer and Mabel Palmer and people that you really owe yourself. And they certainly have earned the right to be a fixture in your life. And if you're willing to do that every 7 years, and again, it's not any scientific fact, I just think it's a universal law, the investment you put in yourself will double. And that means the people that you serve and the wonderful vibration that you put out in the universe to change other people's lives will double. But that's based on you, and that's initiative, and that means doing the right thing without being told. Guys, work hard this week. Make an investment in yourself for the future of yourself and all of those you serve. May your innate flow from above down. Have an awesome week serving all of those wonderful families. And I look forward to talking to you next week.
My best friend gave me the best advice. He said each day